Well, the story of this game, first of all, is that this team lost two of its players before the game even started. Angel Delgado from Seton Hall, who's a magnificent rebounder. I think he averaged 13 or 14 rebounds over the first two games. Had a tightness in his back, so he did not play. And Jonathan Stark from Murray State, who was probably the guy who helped them win game two, their win, had a strained neck, so he also didn't play. Well, these are only 8-man teams, so they were down to 6 before the game even started, 6 men, and yet they scored 100 points and won the game. So it's a very impressive performance by those 6 players who did play. Probably the most impressive in that group, Rodney Bullock from Providence. He's a medium-range shooter who would like to think he's a three-point shooter. He's not really a great three-point shooter, but I'll tell you what, he got to the basket today, made 9 out of 12 at the foul line, and when he did take those medium-range jumpers, he was red hot. Every 17-footer that he took in this game seemed like it went in. And he wound up with 24 points and really carried the team through large stretches of the game, particularly in the first half when they sort of asserted themselves. He did that. And then the second half, his teammate Devin Hall from Virginia really picked it up. At one point, he had made his first 5 three-point attempts. He was 5 for 5. He finished 5 of 7, but we won't hold that against him. I mean, he made 5 in a row. And the thing you love about Devin Hall is, typical of the Tony Bennett players from Virginia, he makes one smart play after another. Whether he's shooting the ball, passing the ball, defending, he's always making a smart play. And every 3 that he took was a good shot, even the 2 that he missed. There weren't any forces. He doesn't have any heat check type shots. He takes the shots when they're there. When the play calls for a pass to be made, he makes the pass. He's a bigger guard, so on defense he's tough. He's long, he's got length, so that he puts his hands in the passing lanes. He makes it tough on the opposing point guard. Not the quickest guy in the world, but boy, does he know how to play. He really knows how to play, and he can really shoot. Those are 2 very good qualities to have. So those 2 guys are why that team won the game. Igor Kuleshov from Florida, who had not shot the ball that well coming into this game. This was a more typical game for Kuleshov. He got some wing jumpers, he got going, he runs the floor, he rebounds, and he's a multi-dimensional player. He's a guy that not a lot of people know about because they can't keep up with him. He started at Arizona State, he played 2 seasons at Rice, and then he finished up at Florida. So he's like a Where's Waldo? Well, where is he this year? You know, where's he playing? But everywhere Kuleshov has gone, he's helped his team. He helped Florida this year, and he's a sneaky rebounder. You know, he's about 6'6", 6'7". Doesn't seem like he'd be a great rebounder, but he has a knack for it. He's one of these guys who's not the highest jumper, but he predicts accurately where the rebound's going to come off. And he gets there before other guys. Half of his rebounds is just because he outsmarted everybody else. He figured out where the shot was going to come off, and he got his body there before anybody else. Matt Farrell from Notre Dame, he's just a terrific point guard. He really shot the ball poorly most of his first 2 games, which is not like him. This game was more like what we see from Matt Farrell. He had 7 assists, he made great plays for everybody else, a lot of dump downs, a lot of penetrate and dish. A lot of times he penetrated into the lane, forced the big man to come over and help on him, and then he dropped it off for a dunk. So big guys love playing with a guy like that, because if you're 6'11", you're kind of slow, this guy's giving you room service. He's just dropping the ball off right at the rim and you dunk it. You didn't have to move a foot. But he also made shots today, which he hadn't been doing the other 2 games. He was 4 for 6 from 3. And that's the guy we saw at Notre Dame. You know, he's a great perimeter shooter. He's quick. He makes plays for others. And he's a gnat on defense. He's not somebody you want to bring the ball up against because he's a pest. And I say that with love. I mean, he's the kind of defensive point guard you want. So Farrell played really well today. The other guy who really jumped up today, Joe Lual-Achuil from Baylor, had a double-double. He had 10 points and 13 rebounds. He has great activity. What's really standing between that guy and being a factor and maybe being able to get onto an NBA roster is probably about 15 pounds. You know, he just isn't that strong. He gets pushed off his spot some of the time. But in this game, he rebounded the ball very well, and he was able to score a few buckets too. He's a real agile guy. He's a 7-footer who runs like a 6'6" guy. And again, if he could just gain a little bit more strength to hold his position on the block, both on offense and defense, that's what's standing in the way of him becoming a real NBA prospect where he could make a team.